Are you someone who says, I have trust issues? And if you are, stay tuned because that is what I'm going to be talking about today. Is this idea of trust, especially pertaining to self-love. And so I used to say this. I used to say this a lot. And the reason that I said it was because I had been hurt quite a bit by people who I trusted. And whenever I say I trusted them, the trust that I had was that they would put my best interest ahead of their own, or they wouldn't hurt me, you know? Like, especially when you're thinking about parents, right? And siblings. And so we have these people in our lives who love us. And, you know, I don't have any doubt in my mind that my parents loved me so, so much. Just like I have no doubt in my mind or heart or soul or anywhere in my body how much I love my kids. Yet I've been hurt by my parents, by their words, by their actions, their behaviors, by saying that they would do something and then not doing it. Like, all these little things hurt, you know? And now that I'm a parent too, and I watch myself do these things sometimes, the guilt gets hard. And it's like, why do we always, not always, but why do we tend to hurt the people who we care about the most, you know? And it's this thing that happens. So when we're looking at trust, it's important to know what you're trusting. Are you saying that, like, in order for me to trust people, I have to know that they're never going to hurt me. They're never going to inflict pain on me, intentional or not intentional, right? A lot of the times when we're in pain, it wasn't even intentional by the other person. So that is a setup for self-destruction and a lot of suffering that's not necessary. And whenever you're looking at trust, I think back to this time. It was a very profound moment whenever I was in therapy the first time, and she asked me, because I was having a lot of guilt about some of the things that I was doing as a mom, and she asked me if I was doing the best that I could at that time with what I knew. And whenever she asked me that, I was like, no, like, I should have done this, that, and the other, and I definitely shouldn't have done what I did. But the more and more I thought about it, and her next question was, well, what could you have done differently, you know, in that moment? And it dawned on me that I have always been doing the best that I could with what I had. And so trusting that everyone else has their own story, their own experiences, their own pain inside of them that may have them, you know, reacting or doing whatever it is that they're doing. They are doing the best that they can with what they have right now. So if their behavior is painful to you, maybe it's a call for help. Or maybe it's a call to look into yourself and say, why am I putting up with this, you know? And maybe it's time to create boundaries and speak up or create space. You know, there's all sorts of different things that can come out of when you trust that they are doing the best that they can. One of the other things I think about too that I do trust in, and I don't know this for sure, but it helps me, so I'll share it with you all. And this is the notion that if I were to have walked in somebody else's shoes, lived all of their experiences, were thinking their thoughts, feeling what they feel in their body, that I would behave in the same way that they are. I don't know if that's true, but it helps me to trust. I don't trust that people are not going to hurt me, because pain is part of this. You know, pain shows us where our limits are. so that we can stretch and expand. Think about exercising. You're not going to get like big muscles and super buff without a little bit of pain. So, trusting that you have what you need to deal with the pain that you receive, trusting that people are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing to help you on your path, even if it might be painful, taking time to dive into that pain, dissecting it, separating what they do from you, because what other people do isn't normally about you. It's about what's going on inside of them. So whenever we take that personally and make assumptions that it's about us and we take it to heart, that's creating more pain within yourself. So if this is something that keeps happening, looking into that, learning how to not take it personal, not to make assumptions, it makes it so it's not painful anymore, you see? And then you have less pain because you've grown through that, Trusting that there is some like grand plan, there is some God or the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes the plants grow, whatever created us to begin with, trusting in that master plan. And you can often go back to a time in your life where things were not okay, you didn't think it was going to be okay, and you spent a lot of time worrying and trying to control things, and then it ended up being something that worked out for you really well. So it's like you could have not been worrying. You could have just been trusting that everything is happening the way it's supposed to, accepting the reality in front of you and taking control of what you can control, which is only yourself, trusting in your ability to get through it, trusting that if you need assistance, it will show up. It always does. So shifting your idea of trust from trusting that people will not hurt me to trusting that people are all on their own paths and doing what they need to do, and I too am on my path doing what I need to do, and trusting in the whole process, It's so freeing when you do this, because I know for me, whenever I was really deep into my trust issues, I was a hermit. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Like, I didn't even talk to my parents. I couldn't talk to them because I didn't trust that they would understand, So it creates this really lonely ick, And as humans, we need connection, and it's important to not have your heart entirely closed because somebody hurt once, or twice, or 20 times. And I know that there's pain. I know the pain is real. And I know it really sucks to be hurt really deeply by somebody that you love. But if you can just imagine the times that you have done this. Have you ever hurt someone that you deeply loved, And where you were at when you did that? Why did you do that? And really come to terms with that and realize that you were doing what you had to do to learn what you needed to learn, maybe even to help them learn what they needed to learn. And it really helps loosen up, one, the guilt you have for the times that you've hurt other people, and it helps you forgive people for the times that they've hurt you. And holding on to that anger, it's not serving you. It's not hurting them, it's hurting you. So learning to just trust that you are capable of dealing with whatever comes your way is so powerful. Trusting that humans are going to they're going to create pain. There's going to be pain, and you are strong enough to get through it. I hope this helps.